Afternoon. So good afternoon, everybody. Wait a minute, as I always say, am I in the right city? Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm just excited and just overjoyed to be able to welcome you all to my very first State of the City address here as Mayor of the City of DeSoto. Now, hold on one second, Greg. I have to make a correction to that biography that you read there. Some things that one thing in particular that you mentioned. You mentioned that I was an honorary member of the DeSoto Golden Voices Senior Citizens Choir. I am now, as of a few weeks ago, I am an official member. I'm no longer honorary as far as that choir is concerned. We want to set the record straight to that. But again, I want to welcome you all to DeSoto's annual State of the City address, which actually marks the completion of my first year in office as your mayor. Actually, tomorrow, February 11th, it will make an official year that I was actually sworn in as your mayor, and I'm just excited. You want to clap right there? Now, considering that my term began the same week as one of the worst winter storms in our history, and that 1 year concluded with a major resurgence of the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as another icy winter storm, it feels like a whole lot more than 1 year has passed. But no matter what comes our way, we have proven, DeSoto, that we can work together to adjust our course and chart a new way forward for DeSoto. And that's why I'm calling this year's State of the City address, Charting a New Path Forward. Because we're keeping our positive momentum as together we choose the path to make DeSoto soar. And DeSoto's future has never been brighter. That's why I'm so excited to share what we're going to share today. Now, I'd like to take a couple of minutes to recognize some of our very distinguished guests today that have joined us. And I'm going to say this, my family is here, you all. My mom, my sister, my brother-in-law, they are here. One of my brothers is on the way. You don't clap, that's fine. And I would dare not introduce them first, because without my family here backing me, supporting me, making sure that I have the things that I need to do to be able to even do this, there is no me without them, especially without my mom. As you all may know, my father passed in 2015, the late Dr. C.R. Proctor. And I just want to thank my family, and we all can put our hands together one more time. But again, it's been a long road to get here, and there were ones who helped show me the path forward. And so there are a lot of elected officials and community partners who stood by DeSoto to make us stronger. If you are an elected official, and whether that's state, whether that's county, whether that's federal, judges, I see many people in the room. I dare not start trying to call all of you all's name, but if you could just stand. With us today. Again, thank you all for your service, but I want to take a special moment to thank my city council colleagues, starting with Mayor Pro Tem Andre Bird of Place 4, Pastor Andre Bird. Also, Councilmember Kay Brown Patrick from Place 2. She's not with us today, but we want to make sure we honor and recognize her. Councilmember Nicole Raphael from Place 3. Councilmember Dr. Diana Marks from Place 5. Sounds like Dinah brought a fan club with her today. Councilmember Crystal Chisholm from Place 6. Councilmember Chisholm has her amen corner too. Councilmember Letitia Hughes from Place 7, last but not least. So our ability to lead this city depends on working together as a council, and I am just so fortunate. Council, y'all know me. I'm so fortunate to be able to serve with you all. You all are dedicated. You inspire me to do my job as mayor better, and so I thank you for allowing me to serve with you. Our sponsors for today's State of the City addresses, they have been for many, many, many years, are our friends and civic partners at the DeSoto Chamber of Commerce. We can put our hands together for them. And they too have a new leader at the helm, and I would like to recognize the Chamber's President and CEO, Ms. Vanessa Sterling, for all that she has done to help chart a new way forward for DeSoto as well. Also, I want to thank Ms. Elsa Ozuna for helping Vanessa to keep these trains running on time. Where's Elsa? Is that her at the door? There she is. I would also like to recognize who you just recently heard from, the board chair, Ms. Nina Threets, as well as past chairs, Maurice Jones, he is here, Chief Jones, as well as Mr. Kenneth Govan. Kenneth, where are you? There you are. Thank you all. Then there is the backbone of Team DeSoto. Our hard-working team at City Hall, starting with City Manager Brandon Wright and his staff. I've asked them all to stand so that we can give them the recognition that they deserve and that they earn each and every day. Yeah, they really deserve double honor on today because they have put up with me for the last 2 months or so trying to get this event together and get all of the stuff that's in my head out of my head to materialize into what you all see today. So let's give them another hand clap. So in the effort to chart a new way forward to DeSoto, must include our leadership team from DeSoto ISD and their board of trustees. Can all my friends from the ISD please stand at this time so we can recognize you? There are several trustees here. Our superintendent, Dr. Please stand. Thank you for all that you do to make sure our next generation doesn't lose. We thank you for your work and your service to DeSoto. Now, on December 1st, 2020, the DeSoto City Council unanimously approved the City of DeSoto's 5-year strategic plan, which serves as a blueprint for DeSoto's immediate future and beyond. Now, this plan allows DeSoto City government to take a holistic approach with our planning and our operations. It's integrated with the council's yearly business plan and the individual work plans for the City of DeSoto department, so it automatically moves forward as we advance. It's the first plan of its kind in DeSoto, and we are excited to use it as our guide to move DeSoto forward. Our efforts to chart a new way forward for DeSoto are guided by plans that we come up with by working together citywide with key stakeholders. Many of you in the room have been a part of those discussions. And all this planning to develop a 5-year strategic plan, coordinating annual business plans with execution through department work plans, has achieved some very impressive accomplishments in 2021. We even produced a video in 2021 to familiarize our residents with DeSoto's 5-year strategic plan. That was that video you just saw, that screenshot with Brandon and Isom looking like my bodyguards. That's the video I'm talking about. So our strategic plan is the roadmap for the future, and our other plans are developed to support it. Now, it's one thing for a plan to work on paper, and I think all of you that are in business in here in leadership know that. But for it to work in a community, we need trust. So to do this, we needed to convey our vision through effective two-way communication. And so this reflects teamwork, transparency, and a shared vision. So please turn your attention to the screens.
As you can see, perhaps the most critical feature of our strategic plan is building trust with our residents. One of the biggest strides that we took in this direction came with the creation of our Community Police Advisory Committee. Creating this committee, which we refer to as CPAC, was not an easy task. DeSoto is fortunate to have a police chief who remains up to the task in building trust in our community. Police Chief Joe Costa will share with us what it has been like to work with a group of residents serving on DeSoto's Community Police Advisory Committee.
The Community Police Advisory Committee was formed so that we could bring some trust and transparency between the department and the citizens of DeSoto. It's been great because we have some great citizens that are part of that board, and what they bring to the table is an understanding of what the community is looking for from their police department. We discuss our policies and our procedures, and they get to identify what it is that we do as a police department. We get to showcase what we have in place and what guides us as a department. The citizens that are on the board ask questions. We go over our policies and our procedures and our organizational structure. We've had the ability to review several policies in the last few months, and we're going to continue to do that, and also review our procedures. With that, we take suggestions, recommendations, input from our board to make our policies stronger and bring that trust and transparency to the community. The good thing is that we now have developed some ambassadors for our police department that can go out to the community and bring that knowledge and that interest that they have for the department to the rest of the community.
Deputy City Manager Christoph Bauer has helped direct important projects in several different U.S. cities and has seen the strengths and weaknesses of the computer systems used to keep finances and related operations running efficiently. When DeSoto decided to shift to a new computer system to govern all municipal government internal processes and financial operations, the City of DeSoto tapped Deputy City Manager Christoph Bauer to lead the transition effort. He will tell us about DeSoto's new enterprise resource planning system, why it was selected, and why it's expected to promote efficiency and financial transparency.
The current system that we have has worked well, but it's a single-purpose financial system. It's not integrated with other things we do, like human resources and other systems, so that creates a lot of inefficiencies where we have to enter data twice or sometimes 3 times, which creates not only inefficiency but potential for error. The new system is well integrated for other operations, so we can enter data once and use it several times to make sure it's consistent and effective and efficient. The other thing that's a challenge with the current system is that it only provides information in certain canned reports. And if you want to look at information in a different way, it really is inflexible. So our newest system gives us a lot more opportunity to pull our information and sort of compile it in different ways. So if the community and the council wants to see our financial information in a new way, we can make that happen for them much more efficiently and much more effectively. So at the end of this process, which is a challenging process, we'll be able to not only be more efficient as an operation, but provide better and more concise information for the council and the community.
DeSoto is also grateful for a strong partnership between its municipal court judge, Scott Kurth, and Justice of the Peace, Sasha Moreno from Grand Prairie, that has provided many people who have committed offenses with an opportunity to maintain their driver's license and driving rights so that they can maintain employment and support themselves and families. This keeps them employed and helps to prevent their lives from taking potential downward spirals. The program, which was launched in October of 2020, continues to make a difference for DeSoto's residents and serves to strengthen their community. It is yet another example of how DeSoto will reach out to other branches of government to provide new opportunities and to do things that make a real difference, but could never be accomplished by working alone.
Wow. Chief Costa, could you just stand? Mr. Bauer, Judge Kirk, could you all just stand so they can see you? They're here with us today. Again, building trust allows us to work together to pursue a shared vision. It also allows us to be viewed in our true light, which will help us as we step forward to show the world the dynamic city that DeSoto is. Now, image is important, but it has to be backed up by deeds. And DeSoto knows this and has made strengthening our image a priority in our strategic plan. I recently sat down with DeSoto City Manager Brandon Wright to discuss one of the city's primary goals, which is to focus on the importance of DeSoto's image. DeSoto is a top-tier community, and collectively we define DeSoto's identity, we promote our uniqueness, and communicate that to the rest of the world. That is how we define DeSoto's image. Please turn your attention to the screen.
Brandon, as you know, one of the most important goals in our strategic plan concerns DeSoto's image. We want to be able to tell our own story, and we've been working with a marketing consultant to move that process forward. So can you bring us up to date on how DeSoto plans to create a new and consistent branding and marketing identity for our city?
Yeah, this is really one of the most important goals that the City Council has. When you think about it, our image to both our residents, our businesses, but also the outside community around us is really an important driver for the success of our community moving forward. We want DeSoto to be known as a unique place to live. And for that, what we're doing right now is we're working with our residents, our businesses, and our elected officials, really trying to understand what are those things that make DeSoto unique. We need to get to that core messaging that really we can go and blast out to the rest of the world, let them know who we are and how great it is to live here and be part of our community. As part of that effort, we also have a redesign of our logo going on right now, as well as kind of what it is that the marketing messages need to be on a consistent basis to help make sure that that message makes its way through the rest of the noise of the world and really focuses on those who are interested in coming to DeSoto and learning more about it. This has really just been a tremendous effort, and we're excited now to be in the more public version of this program, where we are unveiling those logos, talking about what those things are getting feedback from the City Council, but also making sure that the public is very involved in this process and giving us their 2 cents on what it is that makes DeSoto unique.
DeSoto's goal of improving its image starts with setting a clear direction for where the city is going. DeSoto's 5-year strategic plan, which serves as a blueprint for the city's immediate future, was unanimously approved by the DeSoto City Council in December of 2020. The 5-year strategic plan works in tandem with the City Council's annual business plans and the department work plans so that everything moves forward at a swift, coordinated pace. To help familiarize residents with the details of this new strategic plan, city leaders developed an informative video to help communicate the details. This video is available across the city's various platforms. One of DeSoto's top priorities is to look out for the health and safety of its residents. This priority has never been any more important than during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, which threatens DeSoto's physical and financial well-being. When federal government funding provided DeSoto with the opportunity to grant relief, the city went the extra mile to ensure that all city residents were aware of the availability for this funding. The end result was the DeSoto Cares marketing program. By marketing the availability of relief programs, DeSoto provided more than $800,000 in direct financial assistance to DeSoto residents and almost $500,000 to DeSoto businesses. The weekly DeSoto in-depth news and information television program was launched during the pandemic as a way to speak directly to homebound seniors who might not otherwise learn DeSoto-specific COVID information or know about all the resources available to help them. The program developed a regular following and soon expanded to covering topics of community interest that continues to attract viewers beyond the initial audience. So far, DeSoto In-Depth has broadcast approximately 40 half-hour news and information programs. When it comes to opening up dialogue between the community and city leaders, Mayor Rachel Proctor understands the value of finding unique DeSoto stories. Mayor Proctor has been working with the city's communication team to create regular video-based programming to share some of the more interesting things that she and the city are working on. Mayor Proctor's video series already has a few episodes in the DeSoto Rises series and encourages all residents to see these episodes via the video section on DeSoto's Facebook page. DeSoto has always worked hard to make its main public meetings and the information discussed accessible to residents, and the COVID-19 pandemic has amplified the need for online access. In addition to live and archived broadcasts available on the city's website, DeSoto added Facebook Live broadcasts to the city's Facebook page so events can be viewed as they unfold. This level of access brings every resident of DeSoto closer to the decisions being made. And there was a recent column in the New York Times about the best cities to live in the United States of America. DeSoto, Texas was listed as one of the top 10 cities to live in the United States, specifically due to high scores in job availability, climate, and racial diversity. It sure is nice to see others around the world take notice and help spread the word.
So as you can see, we have already started getting the word out. We want the world to know the special place that DeSoto is, and we also want to let those who are considering buying a home or establishing a business that we will be a good investment for them to make. And the best way to convey this is to create a thriving DeSoto. DeSoto subscribes to the age-old adage that a rising tide lifts all boats. It illustrates the impact that a strong economy can have on those who live under it. DeSoto is working strategically to revitalize key portions of our city through economic development policies and projects that will strengthen our community, boost the overall quality of life, offer new and exciting housing choices and business opportunities, as well as creating jobs and stimulating our economy. Now, in an effort to bring us closer to achieving this goal, the DeSoto City Council has worked carefully to restructure the city's Economic Development Corporation to focus that development that our residents are asking us for. The city also recruited a talented economic development director. Where's Matt? There he is. Stand up, Matt, so the people can see you. Stand up, Matt. He hails from Colorado. And we're working to create a thriving economy that will grow a diverse and innovative economy with increased commerce and employment opportunities. Please turn your attention to the screens.
DeSoto recently hired Matt Carlson, who hails from Colorado, to handle economic development for the city. He's our new director. One thing that is vital to the continued success of our community is increasing economic development opportunities for the largest and the smallest of businesses. Thriving economy is one area of the strategic plan that is designed to see change throughout DeSoto. We've seen an impressive lineup of new and high-profile business expansion. Matt will share with us what the Hampton Road redevelopment project means for DeSoto's future and some information about businesses building in our city.
The Hampton Road project is an exciting seminal project for the city of DeSoto. This is a project that's been long contemplated for the last 15 or almost 20 years. It's gotten lots of public input from the public to tell us what kind of an environment we want to create, because unlike many cities, we don't have a downtown corridor. And so we're going to create one out of whole cloth, and that's the Hampton Road corridor. Pleasant Run Road, down to the Beltline. That Hampton Road, that 1 mile of Hampton Road, will become a new, vibrant destination where people not only from DeSoto, but from all around southern Dallas, and in fact all of Dallas, will come to recreate, will come to eat, will come to enjoy music and the sidewalk environment. It's a place that's meant to activate our city and put us on the map as a place that people want to come, spend the day, be with their families. As exciting as the Hampton Road Corridor redevelopment project is, and it will bring lots of restaurants, arts, entertainment, we've got a number of new types of businesses in every asset class, whether it's industrial, it's commercial office space, or even new retail space happening throughout the city of DeSoto. We have our large industrial park that's expanding. We have 5 new speculatively built buildings that will come online in 2022, adding almost 2.5 million square feet and more than $100 million of investment and tax base to our city. Diab is going to expand their footprint by 100%, doubling the size of their building and adding 100 new jobs to our community. And others will follow suit. We anticipate next year more than $200 million worth of investment in our community, both real and personal property tax. On the retail front, we've got numerous new projects, whether it's on Beltline, whether it's on Cockrell Hill. We've got lots of places coming like Kendall Carson's and the Heritage Coffee Shop, both new, exciting kinds of places where people want to go and spend some time. And on the commercial side, we're developing a medical village. We're going to bring new choices in physicians, new choices in care to our community, adding physician practice groups right smack dab in the middle of the Hampton Corridor project with approximately 25 to 30,000 square feet of new medical office space. In 2021, Council structurally changed the way economic development is supported within the city. We went from a 4A to a 4B, and while B oftentimes seems like it's next in line, I like to think of it as bigger. And that bigger means we're poised to do more than ever in more different ways here in the city of DeSoto to bring to you, our citizens, the kinds of projects, the kinds of opportunities, the kinds of retail, and the kinds of jobs that you've been asking for.
DeSoto has several major developments taking place, with even more in the works. But new development comes with a trade-off in the way it impacts existing city infrastructure. The more successful the development, the greater the demand on things like roadways and water and sewer infrastructure. This is the primary reason that the City Council studied developmental impact and ultimately approved an impact fee ordinance to ensure developers are prepared to contribute their fair share to maintaining the expansion of critical infrastructure. While every city encourages the entrepreneurial spirit and is generally welcoming to new businesses, there are certain types of businesses that require their host city to be vigilant so that their addition does not contribute to the negative side effects on the community. The increasing number of small discount variety stores, frequently referred to as dollar stores, and smoke shops opening up that brought the topic to the top of the City Council's agenda. If not regulated, these businesses can contribute to higher unintended consequences like crime and litter. The City Council approved an ordinance that set limits on the number of small discount variety stores and smoke shops that can operate in DeSoto. These restrictions will continue to ensure that DeSoto develops in the best interest of existing residents and businesses. DeSoto's Down Payment Assistance Program makes community development block grant funding available to assist qualifying low-income, first-time home buyers with down payment and closing costs to buy their first home in DeSoto. This program provides up to $10,000 in a forgivable loan and is another way that DeSoto City Council is helping to provide affordable housing opportunities in our city. The COVID pandemic also hit many residents and businesses hard from an economic standpoint, and DeSoto has been assisting those who qualify to receive funding to protect their financial standing. DeSoto provided more than $800,000 through the Residential Assistance Program to help with the payment of rent, mortgage, utility bills, and childcare costs. Almost $500,000 was provided to DeSoto businesses through the city's Business Assistance Program for the payment of rent, mortgage, and utility bills for the businesses impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. The DeSoto City Council also provided much-needed customer service training to qualifying DeSoto businesses to help cultivate a new standard of doing business in the COVID era.
So as you can see, a thriving financial climate in DeSoto is an extremely important goal, and we are definitely moving in the right direction to achieve that by making this requirement a goal of our strategic plan. But there is more to a thriving city than just economic prosperity. I'm talking about the qualities that appeal to our emotional and intellectual happiness, such as knowledge, learning, and history. When you help foster a climate of learning, you bestow a gift to your residents that enriches everyone. Thus, one of the most desirable of all of our strategic goals is building a DeSoto where learning flourishes. In our effort to create a learning environment, the City Council has been collaborating closely with our school district partners, who many of them are here today, to cultivate an environment of learning and enrichment by supporting excellence in education, professional development, and job training. We've taken tremendous strides in this area, and I sat down recently again for a conversation with City Manager Wright to discuss just how we've been doing this. Please turn your attention to the screens.
Another critical aspect of our strategic plan is how DeSoto is working to create a learning environment in our city. This includes City of DeSoto officials working with the leadership of DeSoto ISD and its Board of Trustees so our organizations can better serve our residents to create this learning environment. And we were able to form joint working groups made of elected officials and staff from the city and the ISD to collaborate on our strategic goals. So tell us about how that coordination is going for our joint working groups.
Yeah, that coordination has been a lot of fun. It's not very often that we get the opportunity to really work closely with the school district when we're creating programs and different policies. A couple months ago, we had a meeting with the school board and we really formed some working groups that everyone was working together to look at our strategic plan and figure out how is it that we take opportunities for alignment on our strategic goals. There are things that the city does and things that the school district does, and they are very similar. And we thought to ourselves, you know what, it would make a lot of sense if we worked together on these to really make sure that we were providing the greatest impact to the DeSoto residents. Over the last several months, these working groups have been doing a lot of great idea thinking, trying to figure out what it is that we could do to really move DeSoto forward as elected officials from both the school district and the city. We look forward to meeting with them again here soon so that we can really unveil those topics to the public and be able to share with them how it is that as we think strategically about the future, how it is that we really accomplish those goals.
Brendan, I will say it's really great to finally see these things moving forward because that's been a goal of ours for a very long time. So to be able to put action with those desires we've had is really good, not only for us as the elected bodies of our city, but also for the children. And there was some really great news we've got recently for the children of DeSoto with the creation of a tutoring program that will devote more than $1 million to helping them with learning outside of the classroom. So give us an update on how that tutoring program has been going.
Yeah, this program has been just tremendous so far. So this has been a very collaborative effort between the city and the school district, working closely with them. The city had been offered some ARPA funding, some grant funding that we had from the federal government that allowed us to really support our students who are falling behind because of COVID. With that funding, we obviously needed a great partner, and DeSoto ISD has been that partner for us. As we turned to them and said, let us use some of this funding, but help us develop a program that really targets how it is that we help children who have fallen behind due to COVID in their learning. So we've partnered with them, and they've begun offering a tutoring program for students between 3rd and 5th grade. And there are many students right now who are taking advantage of that, and that continues to help our community move forward. This has been one of the most exciting and collaborative efforts that we've really been part of here at the city and the school district, working together to really figure out how do we use the resources from both organizations to directly help our DeSoto students.
Exciting indeed, Mr. City Manager. So thank you for those amazing updates as we continue to move our city forward.
I'm going to ask one more time if our partners from DeSoto ISD would just stand so we can recognize them one more time for all of their work and collaboration. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So these are the types of initiatives that can only be achieved when our city council and our school board trustees are working together for a better DeSoto. DeSoto will continue to nurture a learning environment so that from our youngest to our most senior residents every day have an opportunity to learn. Moving DeSoto forward is critical to strengthening our city and introducing a vibrancy into our quality of life. A vibrant community is synonymous with convenient transportation, and DeSoto knows how important it is for all residents. The City of DeSoto has been working with Star Transit, who's here with us today. If they could stand, our representatives from Star. We've been working with Star Transit to provide transportation services for residents. And so in November, the DeSoto City Council approved restructuring the city's fixed route bus system that provided limited access to a few destinations to a new same-day on-demand system that functions similar to having a shared Uber experience. And so an engaged and vibrant community also is a community that provides access to community amenities that support arts, culture, entertainment, and retail for families, and proactively engages and involves the community. It's a community that comes alive with energy and excitement. And no establishment in DeSoto embodies civic engagement and the vibrant spirit more, I think you all know where I'm going with this, or takes a closer look at helping us to achieve our strategic plan goal on a daily basis than DeSoto's Parks and Recreation system. You can just take a walk through our recreation center when Zumba class or basketball competition is underway, or visit one of our parks or the Mosley Pool on a summer day and you can feel that energy. DeSoto's park system has presented us with some incredible and inclusive projects that will inspire and shape our city for decades. And we wanted to take a closer look at some of the more recent projects. So I sat down recently with some of DeSoto's leaders who build an engaged and vibrant community every single day. So let's hear about what they've been doing. Please turn your attention to the screens.
A vibrant community is synonymous with convenient transportation. Today, DeSoto residents can access Star Now for door-to-door transportation within the travel area. This new option allows residents to request same-day rides at an affordable rate for greater access to many DeSoto destinations.
DeSoto Parks and Recreation is one of 192 park and recreation agencies in the United States to have been granted accreditation through the Commission for Accreditation of Parks and Recreation Agencies, also known as CAPRA. They've achieved this because their system is top quality and their projects are ambitious and they make a big difference to our residents. I've asked DeSoto Parks and Recreation Managing Director Chris Glover to join us briefly to discuss some of their projects that will help keep DeSoto fit, engaged, and help guide us forward. Chris, our city council and senior managers recently had the opportunity during the council summer retreat to tour the Don Rodenbach Natatorium in Allen, Texas, and we were absolutely impressed with their complex and what it's done for their community. Now, creating a natatorium in DeSoto is one of the key items in the McCowan Park Master Plan. So could you tell us a little bit about this plan and what a natatorium could mean for DeSoto?
The natatorium has been a long time coming. When you look at our population, we'll have things for kids, we'll have things for youth, adults, and seniors. And so having a facility in our community that really accommodates so many different eras like that does will really be something.
We are excited about the many improvements that are actually happening right now at Mosley Pool. So could you bring us up to date on all the changes that are going on over there?
It's going to be so much more interactive. And that piece of it, I think, really rejuvenates our staff when we look at that. We're going to have a party room. It's going to be an indoor party room. And we also have a lazy river, rock climbing wall. We're going to have a diving platform where people can dive. The experience is going to be different. This pool will provide that experience that we're looking for when we're looking at our swim lessons. We'll be able to do more swim lessons, aerobics. So we'll be able to do a lot more programming at this facility.
One of the things that I love the most about DeSoto is that we are all about inclusion and providing a level playing field for all of our residents. And nothing illustrates this better than the All Abilities Park that has been constructed at Ernie Roberts Park. So Chris, can you tell us a little bit more about what makes this park unique?
I think the most major thing about the park is really the all-inclusive, to where we have people of all abilities being able to go and recreate together.
Wow, that's incredible. So I want to just, as a last little note here, I want you to give us a quick overview about one of my favorite parks in DeSoto. Can you tell us a little bit about the upgrades happening at Briarwood Park and the role that DeSoto Parks and Rec has played with advancing our DeSoto Teen Council?
So we really gave the place a facelift because that is one of our most popular facilities for taking pictures during senior time in particular. We widened the bridges, and so again, we've really jazzed that park up a lot. So once we complete landscaping, that park will really be a hit for the citizens of DeSoto. Sydney Elliott, our youth and business coordinator, has really done a wonderful job. We're rejuvenating the program. It's one that we've had for a while, but Sydney was a part of our original teen council, so to really watch her interact with the teens has been really rewarding. And so they are telling us the type of spaces that they want, so we're really excited about teen programming efforts as well.
Mr. Glover, I am just amazed by all of the amazing things that you all are doing there with our parks, as well as what you're doing with our teens. So we thank you for all of the incredible work you're doing, and we look forward to seeing more.
Thank you, Mayor, and thanks for having me.
It is with deep sadness that DeSoto announced the loss of Library Director Dr. Tracy Joel Hunter Hayes. Dr. Hunter Hayes participated in previous recordings for this State of the City event, and it's with loving memory that we acknowledge the excellent work and legacy he leaves on the DeSoto Public Library. Dr. Hunter Hayes came to DeSoto with a wide range of library experience and as an articulate visionary with more than 30 years of service in the library industry and higher education. He was also an ordained American Baptist minister who rose to the rank of bishop under the Philadelphia Council of Clergy. Dr. Hunter Hayes knew how to serve the DeSoto community while attracting new library patrons and encouraging library staff to expand their outreach to DeSoto's growing Latino community. Although he had been in DeSoto a little more than 6 months, his contributions and impact reflect a much broader reach. Dr. Hunter Hayes passed away unexpectedly on January 19th, 2022. Just a week before his tragic passing, Dr. Hunter Hayes sat down with Mayor Rachel Proctor for this final interview about his accomplishments at the DeSoto Public Library. We are proud to share this with you now.
We first surveyed and found out we had Hispanic persons from at least 9 different countries. Of course, Mexico, Central America, Peru, and others. And so what we wanted to do is be authentic and increase those materials so that we can invite them in and let them feel that this is their home as well. When we were celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, we didn't just do one particular day. We did the entire month, 30 days, where we just literally wanted to celebrate each and every culture to the point where we weren't just buying materials, we were inviting them in to share their food, sharing their literature, and sharing, of course, their culture. And what that spurred is others that they would invite in, and it wound up just being just a palooza of all kinds of activity where, simply when we were having the kickoff at the very end of it, we had close to 400 persons in the facility celebrating Hispanic heritage. It was just a blast. And so we look forward to continue to do that because, again, that culture is so important as it's growing in DeSoto, and we want to be a partner where we invite them and let them feel comfortable. What we've done in terms of being a partner in the Best Southwest, we partnered with our materials with 4 other cities so that we have a unified card. And what that means, you can go between the 4 different cities and basically borrow materials, or you can even reserve materials. Now, what that has done, it has allowed us to increase our footprint in streaming in terms of electronic services, even hotspots. Because one of the things that we learned in terms of what is going on in terms of the pandemic, sometimes people might reserve something in Duncanville, reserve something in DeSoto, and they don't have to come to that location. They can get it delivered to a location where we, as the DeSoto Public Library, spearheaded that. So it's not just the catalog, which is books. We also do it with our electronic resources or magazines, and then we do it also with the streaming services. And it's really been a wonderful partnership because what we learned is our foot traffic increased from last year almost 2,000. You can't make that up. And so we're excited that the partnership is growing. We look forward to continue because we just know we got to keep on increasing and making ourselves relevant. And again, Mayor Proctor, we want to thank you for the opportunity, not just for this interview, but for the wonderful work you're doing. And you are a very good supporter of the library, and we're just trying to follow through with what you and the city manager is seeing in us, and we just want to make sure we're always on point to be able to meet the needs of our patrons.
I tried to work through this the last couple of days on how I was going to get past this point in the presentation. But DeSoto is grateful for Dr. Tracy Joel Hunter Hayes for giving his all to make DeSoto a more engaged and vibrant community to live in, to work in, and to visit. And he will forever be a beloved member of the DeSoto family. So if I could ask everyone to please bow your head and take a moment of silence in his memory. Thank you. A Among DeSoto's more important responsibilities is to create a community where residents feel safe and have access to a healthy lifestyle choices. This strategic plan priority is called Safe and Healthy Community. And DeSoto is dedicated to building a safe and healthy community and has made safeguarding the well-being of our residents a strategic priority. 2021 was a year that will be remembered when it comes to steps that the City of DeSoto and our City Council took and the vital outcomes that were achieved towards making DeSoto the safest and healthiest city in Texas. Please turn your attention to the screen.
Before the City of DeSoto opened Fire Station number 2, the last time we built a fire station was in 1990, and that was Fire Station number 3 on Pleasant Run Road. Our new Fire Station 2 was pressed into service long before its formal opening as an emergency command center during last year's winter storm and as the staging area for drinking water distribution during that same storm. Since then, it has also served as the collection point for DeSoto's voluntary gun surrender program, a location for COVID-19 vaccinations for our city personnel, and stored toys during our Philotundra event, in addition to being used daily as an actual fire station. I even joined Fire Chief Jerry Duffield there as we cooked broccoli bites with DeSoto's own 6-year-old celebrity chef, Chef Carter. This new facility has already become a workhorse for the city that is built to last.
The station is important to the future of DeSoto for three primary reasons. Number one, it was built to be hurricane resistant. We had a firm out of Florida that came in, built it out of haydock block, concrete, steel. There's no wood in it, so it could take an impact of a storm and continue to be operationally. Two, as our workforce becomes more diverse, the existing station that it replaced was not gender friendly. This lets us accommodate men and women with equal ease, and so as our workforce becomes more diverse, it fits that role. The third point is there's an emergency operations center in the administration fire station that we can run 24-hour operations, state of the art, and it puts this fire station, in my opinion, is a state-of-the-art fire station, puts us in a great place for the next 20 years, and we're very proud to have it in DeSoto and serving the citizens of DeSoto.
No matter how wide our differences, America's communities always seem to come together to work as one whenever a natural disaster hits. We've seen it countless times in recent years during storms like Hurricane Andrew and Katrina, and closer to home during last year's winter storm Uri. Several area cities experienced problems with their municipal water operations that required boil orders, but not DeSoto, which took swift and immediate precautions to keep the city's water system safe. Extreme cold brought extensive damage to private water services, and city personnel jumped into action, providing quick water service shutoffs to limit damage to DeSoto homes and businesses. The city also organized a large-scale drinking water giveaway and used brand new Fire Station number 2 as the distribution point. DeSoto's emergency management response obtained a large donation of canned drinking water from Anheuser-Busch, as well as water donations from DeSoto residents. It was truly a team effort. DeSoto was the only city in the best Southwest region to establish an overnight shelter for dozens of residents. In partnership with Faith Bible Church, the city of DeSoto acted quickly to ensure that residents had a safe and warm place to spend the night. And when the private water service to the senior residents at the Hickory Manor Apartments was unavailable, City of DeSoto officials were on site to deliver drinking water, provide portable showers, and to secure hotel space for residents whose apartments became uninhabitable for extended durations because of the severe water damage. The city worked with Beto O'Rourke's Powered by the People Foundation to obtain a $25,000 grant to offset the high cost of temporary housing for Hickory Manor residents. During DeSoto's after-action review, city leadership realized the importance of building stronger DeSoto relationships to face future storms with community partners. This new partnership soon took root and is now established as the DeSoto's community organizations active in disasters. Considering the lasting impact that the COVID pandemic has had on the community, the DeSoto City Council has been proactive in ensuring that residents have access to essentials like food and other necessities. The city has provided almost $400,000 in assistance to DeSoto food pantries to ensure that shelves stay full and that food is properly stored. The City Council also sponsored 2 giveaway events in December to assist DeSoto residents during the holidays, including a large-scale holiday food and children's gifts distribution event in partnership with the Chris Howe Foundation, and a toy and clothing drive with a Philotundra event in partnership with South Toyota and area churches and businesses. The Philotundra event was so successful that DeSoto gathered enough toys for children and warm clothing for seniors to fill 4 Toyota Tundra truck beds, showing the compassion of our community in giving to those in need during the Christmas season. Life has been exceptionally stressful for all of us during the COVID pandemic, and when you throw in many other challenges faced in the average day, it can be overwhelming mentally and emotionally. In September, DeSoto brought in some of the nation's top mental health experts to share information about coping with behavioral health challenges. This event was titled DeSoto Hope, which stands for Healing Opportunities for Personal Empowerment. The event was well attended, and we're looking forward to a second showing of this event in 2022. Another important initiative in 2021 was ensuring a safe and fair hiring environment for all DeSoto residents. The City Council approved a fair chance hiring ordinance that takes a bold step towards offering a fair chance to those with criminal histories when applying for jobs. Through this ordinance, qualifying DeSoto businesses with 15 or more employees are required to remove questions about criminal history from the initial job application. Nothing in this new ordinance limits an employer's authority to make a hiring decision for lawful reasons, including the determination that an individual may be unsuitable for the job based on an assessment of the applicant's criminal history. Instead, the city is encouraging employers to assess candidates' qualifications and skills before seeking information about criminal history, which has been shown to support the successful reintegration of and to increase economic opportunities for qualified individuals with criminal histories who are ready to contribute to the workforce.
I'm going to ask if Mr. Glover, Sydney, our chief, fire chief, members of the COAD, I see plenty of them in here today. If you are a member of the COAD, the Community Organizations Active in Disaster Group, you all could stand so we can recognize you as well. Dr. Marks, we also want to recognize you. We saw you all over the place with Philotundra. She was one of the leading charge for that initiative that we saw fill up 4 Tundra truck beds with toys and things for our senior citizens. So we just appreciate the work that all of you all are doing to, again, make our community the best that it can be. The investments that we make today in our city are critical, and as you have seen, will safeguard DeSoto for many years to come. The final area of our strategic plan that we've been working to make a reality involves making DeSoto a beautiful city on many different levels. It involves fostering community pride by enhancing the natural beauty of our well-maintained city through the use of art, sustainability, and revitalization. It will facilitate a functional, attractive, and well-kept infrastructure and will promote citywide cleanliness and widespread participation and respect for the environment. And it will foster policies and goals that keep DeSoto beautiful. Please turn your attention to the screens.
DeSoto's strategic plan stresses the importance of bringing out the beauty of DeSoto for all to see and experience. There are several important components that DeSoto is focusing on developing and showcasing as a part of the Beautiful City component of the strategic plan. Every year, DeSoto hosts an environmentally friendly event that brings out hundreds of DeSoto residents. The annual citywide document shredding and e-waste recycling event was held in 2021 after being delayed for 2 years due to COVID-19. More than 600 DeSoto residents loaded old documents and electronic waste into their cars and drove through the city service center to safely deposit their backlog of accumulated documents and e-waste. In order for the city of DeSoto to be a beautiful city, as the strategic plan describes, every resident must be involved in protecting our community from trash and litter. The city of DeSoto, led by the city council, worked side by side with the Parks and Recreation Department and teams of community volunteers on several occasions in 2021 to clean up DeSoto under the banner of Keep DeSoto Beautiful. The DeSoto City Manager's Office carried out its monthly Final Friday cleanup effort on the last Friday of each month in 2021, with the city manager, Brandon Wright, organizing volunteer groups, the city's department head team, city council members, and civic groups, such as the Rotary Club, to gather at a specific location to fight back against litter. The city's efforts to keep DeSoto's public way clean and appealing extends to its medians, which are among the most visible features of DeSoto. They're maintained by a crew from DeSoto's Parks and Recreation Department that is responsible for trash and debris removal along DeSoto's streets, medians, and right-of-ways. In support of the excellent work that this crew performs, the DeSoto City Council approved 2 additional positions in its 2022 budget to help maintain a beautiful city. This crew does excellent work, and it shows. In January 2021, the City Council started the year by formally accepting the Cultural Arts Master Plan, Imagine DeSoto, Texas, developed by the DeSoto Arts Commission working independently with MJR Consultants. This process included researching local arts agencies, gathering citizen input, and refining the gathered data. The plan identified 5 essential cultural goals, including investing in people, providing a fresh start for the arts, making some noise about the arts in DeSoto, activating public spaces by incorporating art, and building on this initial plan with Imagine DeSoto 2022. As part of this plan, the Arts Commission awarded Artist Lab grants to 8 DeSoto artists who will be working in public spaces and in the community in 2022 to develop and promote the arts in various forms right here in DeSoto. Beyond protecting and cultivating healthy tree canopies on public lands, the City Council also prioritized the protection of trees in private development by creating the city's first tree mitigation ordinance that incentivizes developers to save and preserve mature trees. Trees that are disturbed during the development process are required to be mitigated through the planting of new trees or by contributing to a fund that purchases new trees to be planted on public properties in DeSoto. This new ordinance will ensure that DeSoto's reputation as a tree-lined city is protected in the future. DeSoto is blessed with a lush, green urban tree canopy, and while daily exposure to the citywide forest might not be usual to residents who see it every day, the city's natural beauty was recognized in 2021 when the city of DeSoto was designated as a Tree City USA, led by the city's Parks and Recreation Department. Receiving this award recognizes the city's commitment to protecting and developing trees on public lands and spaces. Finally, the City Council passed DeSoto's first rental registration ordinance in February of 2021 that provides a program and incentive for landlords to ensure that tenant-occupied properties are well-maintained and are free from nuisance violations. This program requires landlords to register their properties with the City of DeSoto, which prompts inspections to ensure that the property is being maintained consistent with city requirements. Those properties that face numerous violations in a year are inspected on a more frequent basis to encourage landlords to be involved in DeSoto's goal of being a beautiful city.
I want to just take a quick moment to see if there are any members of our Arts Commission. I'm especially excited about this part of the presentation because there will be a beautiful public mural that will become a permanent part of DeSoto's identity right outside this building. Councilmember Nicole Raphael, could you please stand? You're the liaison there to the Arts Commission. If there's any Arts Commission members present or previous, also want to thank all of our cleanup partners. Many of you are in here today that have helped us to keep DeSoto beautiful. So I think we can all agree that beauty is multifaceted and it also requires hard work. But when it finally comes together, it becomes clear to all who see it that you've got it working. So again, we want to thank everyone who works to make DeSoto a beautiful, beautiful city. Now, one of the ways to really judge the management and success of an organization is by opening up its financial books and taking a closer look at how it operates. Now, while this may not be the most exciting part of government, it's probably the most telling. And what it is telling us is that DeSoto is exceptionally well managed financially, and that is reassuring news to our taxpayers. As I discussed earlier, building trust is a key strategic pillar for the city of DeSoto. And nowhere is that trust more important than in the way our finances are managed. We will continue to be transparent in how public dollars are spent so that you can be assured that your tax dollars are building a stronger community. City government has worked consistently with the DeSoto City Council to either freeze or lower the residential and business tax rates. And we are proud to report that in 2022, our tax rate has not increased. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. Our tax rate has not increased for the past 11 years. I'm going to ask our finance director, Mr. Cormier, to stand. Tracy Cormier and his team, if there are any members of his team here, for all the work that they do in terms of our budget, and again to make sure these financial, we can have these types of reports more often. We appreciate your work. And I have some additional good news for DeSoto's senior population. Mayor Pro Tem, listen up. In January, the City Council approved, and you know that's our joke. We have a running joke with Mayor Pro Tem about that. But the City Council approved increasing the amount of property tax exemption to those that are over 65. This change will save those who file for this exemption an additional average saving of $35.07. Now, the City Council is committed to increasing the amount of meaning that DeSoto will ultimately see a $70 reduction on the property tax bills for the city of DeSoto. Now, this is important because most of our seniors are living on fixed incomes, and this action by the DeSoto City Council is meant to help ease their tax burden and allow them to remain living in DeSoto. The COVID-19 pandemic showed us that emergencies can happen at any time and that they don't always go away. This is one of the reasons why in 2021, the City of DeSoto adopted a new policy to adjust the target amounts of fiscal reserves held in the city's largest funds. This policy ensures that we have sufficient reserves on hand to meet any foreseeable emergency while freeing up excess reserves to meet our immediate needs. It also helps to keep our property tax rates stable, which is continued good news for our residents. As of the last city audit, the City of DeSoto has $22 million in general fund reserves on hand, representing 56% of all of our general fund expenditures. You clap right there. Now, these numbers prove that our financial resilience and prudent planning to withstand emergencies and economic downturns. It takes many components to make DeSoto run well, and this also includes DeSoto's thriving industrial community and retail establishments, which not only create jobs, but help to generate revenues that allow city government to operate without decreasing services to our residents or by increasing our taxes. Now, because of sound financial management and a strong industrial and retail tax base, DeSoto came through the COVID-19 pandemic in excellent financial shape. Our overall revenues increased by approximately 12% from $47.2 million in 2020 to $53.3 million in 2021. 2021. And DeSoto saw strong increases in sales tax revenue, showing the importance of diversifying our revenue sources. In 2020, we took in $9.6 million in sales tax revenues, and in 2021, that amount soared to $13.2 million. The city continues to estimate revenues conservatively during our annual budget process to ensure that we will have the money we need to keep DeSoto running. The long-term focus and commitment by the city's Economic Development Corporation to build out DeSoto's industrial park has positioned us well during the pandemic. The connection between the quality of life in our community and the strength of our industrial base cannot, and I repeat, it cannot be overlooked. For more than 3 decades, the City of DeSoto's Finance Department has been recognized by its peers in the United States and in Canada for exceptionally sound financial management. The city has received the Government Finance Officers Association, or GFOA, Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for 29 years in a row, and the Certificate of Achievement of Excellence in Financial Reporting for 33 consecutive years. We can clap right there. Great job. DeSoto stands to gain an additional awards in both GFOA categories and is awaiting more formal notification. DeSoto has worked hard to secure federal funding through various programs to provide relief to our residents. In 2021, CARES Act, or Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security funding was used to aid small businesses, cover food, housing, and utility costs for residents impacted by COVID-19, assist our local schools, and offset many costs related to public safety services. DeSoto successfully secured $2.9 million in federal funds and distributed that funding throughout our community to ensure that together we would make it through the pandemic. DeSoto provided more than $150,000 in community development block grant funds to small businesses to retain low and moderate income wage earners during the early days of the pandemic, and has dedicated almost $250,000 to assist DeSoto residents with their rent and City of DeSoto water utility bills. DeSoto has also secured $7.3 million in American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA funding, and has been directed to provide tutoring for DeSoto students, purchase gunshot detection software, compensate city employees who were on the front lines serving in the community during COVID, and to improve community infrastructure, including electrical reliability to the city's water infrastructure and drainage projects. ARPA funding is just beginning to come online and will continue to strengthen DeSoto's community improvement efforts for the next several years. So in total, DeSoto has secured $10.4 million in federal grant sources to address impacts from the pandemic for our community. Great job. Sound financial management not only means that we are spending city resources appropriately, but also that we are looking to leverage other sources of funds so that DeSoto residents don't have to pay it all. DeSoto has faced some very serious challenges as of late, but we've come through them all stronger because we did not go at it alone. DeSoto has very dedicated friends who have stood with us during the toughest times, and we want them to know that they are deeply appreciated. Here are 4 elected officials who wanted to provide an opportunity today to discuss their ongoing relationships with DeSoto and tell you all why we work so well together. They include former DeSoto Mayor and current State Representative Carl O. Sherman from District 109, Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins, Dallas County Health and Human Services Director Dr. Philip Wong, and our man downtown, Dallas County Commissioner John Wiley Price. Please turn your attention to the screens.
One of my greatest pleasures as the mayor of DeSoto is to work side by side with government leaders at all levels in the fight for a better DeSoto. Whether we are facing the pandemic, a winter storm, or social justice, DeSoto has a team of leaders who passionately advocate for resources. I am so grateful to Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins, Dallas County Commissioner John Wiley Price, Dallas County Health and Human Services Director Dr. Philip Wong, and State Representative Carl Sherman for standing together with DeSoto.
DeSoto is home, and it means so much to me as your state representative now to do things to aid the city in its future successes.
What makes the difference for the resident is how do we take and not only undergird the tax base, but we are expansive in that tax base. And I think the policies that have been promulgated by the city of DeSoto takes and moves the city in the right direction.
At the start of this pandemic, there were many organizations that ran short on supplies. And so my office worked with the city of DeSoto.
I'm very thankful for the All-American City of DeSoto for our partnership in many things, including opening Ellis Davis, which was a very busy vaccination site. DeSoto first responders staffed that site regularly for months and months, and so many members, residents of DeSoto and of the surrounding area, even other counties, got the benefit.
I mean, at the end of the day, you can have citizens, but if you don't have good corporate citizenship that works hand in glove, with, public sector, cities are not going to really survive very well. You cannot make it if, in fact, you don't have good health results in the city. And COVID has been managed primarily because of the proximity to Ellis Davis.
The residents of DeSoto are really fortunate to have leaders who've taken COVID-19 seriously from the very start. From the late Mayor McCowan, who was really a steady and committed leader and a great partner for us in the early days of the pandemic, to Mayor Proctor and the many elected and non-elected leaders also across the city who continue to do everything they can to keep the community safe. So we really appreciate this partnership and the leadership.
So I hope and pray that the state will work closely with home rule cities like the city of DeSoto that is forward-thinking and progressive in advocating for the rights and liberties of families and individuals. So we will continue to work together.
DeSoto is a premier city. When I look at tax base, having seen it come up from the superconducting super collider, I've been around here for a minute and I've watched DeSoto grow. DeSoto has all the potential there is.
And we have our Senator West is also here with us today. Senator, could you please stand? We also have a representative from Representative Yvonne Davis' office is here. Mr. Spivey, is he still? There he is. Thank you all for being here. We definitely cannot make it without the support of our partners at the county, the state, as well as the federal level. So we appreciate all that you do. Now, DeSoto clearly understands the importance of building strong relationships with our friends at every level of government. These relationships continue to protect DeSoto from pandemics and disasters and have paved the way for future challenges when it will help us to know that these true friends have DeSoto's back. While last year's winter storm was a terrible ordeal, ask me how I know. I have been sworn in all of 3 days when we had one of the worst storms we'd ever seen here in Texas. But it also provided what some might call a teachable moment. And the proof in that is how much more prepared our region was for last week's storm. Last February's winter storm showed us firsthand the importance of planning ahead so that we could bring all of the critical resources in our community together more quickly and efficiently in case it should happen again. And as we just saw last week, it almost did. As soon as the winter storm ended, DeSoto City government and our civic partners assembled to lay the groundwork for a new partnership of community organizations active in disaster, also known as our COAD, which I had them to stand a moment ago. We're grateful for every single COAD partner for their commitment to a safe and healthy DeSoto, and cannot let this moment pass without individually recognizing our partnership with them all. First, we have the American Red Cross, Atmos Energy, Encore, Citizens Emergency Response Team, also known as CERT, the DeSoto Chamber of Commerce, DeSoto ISD, DeSoto Food Pantry, DeSoto Lions Club, DeSoto Rotary Club, Disciple Central Community Church, also known as DC3, Faith Bible Church, Jubilee Community Church, the Mint Foundation, Nueva Vida Church, Serving with the Purpose, and finally, Star Transit. Another critical partner in helping to chart our course is DeSoto's homeowners associations. DeSoto has some of the best housing stock, I think we can all agree, in our region, and HOAs are directly connected with maintaining safe and desirable neighborhoods. We are taking things to the next level by continuing to improve our communications and involvement with our HOAs. In 2021, DeSoto held an HOA involvement workshop to discuss the important role that HOAs provide in our city, as well as to provide access to important resources and information that make HOAs more effective. The city also partners with HOAs to encourage the upkeep of public spaces within our community. DeSoto provides grants of up to $20,000 to HOAs that are committed to making their neighborhoods even better than they already are. We are preparing to enter the second application period that runs through March 31st, so make sure you're taking those notes, residents. Now, one of the last things I want to talk about is DeSoto's longtime mayor, Curtistine S. McCowan, established a reputation for serving the DeSoto community for many years and in many important capacities. Through her sudden passing in October of 2020, it brought an end to her service. The DeSoto police and clergy and community wanted to keep Mayor McCowan's legacy of service alive. This is why this fine organization has been working to create a service award to recognize a special person in our community whose contributions embody the spirit of our late mayor in terms of serving the DeSoto community. The DeSoto Police and Clergy and Community Steering Committee recently informed us that they have finalized and approved the selection process to determine the first recipient of the Curtistine S. McCowan Community Service Award. And hopefully in the near future, we will be able to share with you some good news about a DeSoto resident who has gone above and beyond in the service of our great city and who qualified to receive this great recognition named for our late mayor. Now, Team DeSoto and I were deeply honored to be recognized by the Texas Municipal League at their 109th annual conference in Houston with their TML Risk Pool Partnership Award for helping our DeSoto seniors and other residents navigate the often confusing COVID-19 pandemic vaccination registration process. I wanted to share their reasoning, meaning TML, with you all because it sums up what our city workers strive for as they go about their daily duties. They said, the TML IRP Partnership Award was presented to the city for exhibiting exemplary service to the community, strengthening the bond between risk pool partners, and espousing the core values of integrity, public service, fiscal responsibility, and operational excellence. I am very proud of our workforce, especially our dedicated workers in the public library system and our senior center for helping so many of our residents with such an important effort at a critical time in our history, because they embody the most favorable concept there is of a public servant. I'm going to ask if there are some of our library staff that are here, or Dianca McGee. I want to especially call her name out because she led that effort for them. If there are any of them here, senior center workers. If not, we can still. clap for them. Now, after the first year as your mayor, I can confidently say that our work to chart a new path forward has never produced so many positive results and has never been so important to our future. Working together, the City Council and I have come up with 13 new business plan goals for the next year. And led by DeSoto's talented leadership team and workforce, these goals will continue to elevate DeSoto from our peers and build the quality of life that we all enjoy. 2022 will be the year of the mural. At least that's what the council is seeking in our 2022 business plan. I'm gonna make sure we get that done. As a broader effort to procure public art and beautify our public infrastructure. Late last year, we put out our call seeking artists to help us create a highly visible mural that will convey DeSoto's celebration of culture and cultural dignity. We are looking forward to adding something of beauty to our great city and in the process turning the mural's location into a landmark destination. Among these goals is reviewing the purposes and effectiveness of the Grow DeSoto Marketplace. Raise your hand if you've been to our Grow DeSoto Marketplace. That's not enough hands. We need all the hands in the room to go up. It's also our small business incubator. Now, we are extremely proud of the success that this innovative public-private partnership has made, as well as many of the small businesses. They've been able to build businesses from the ground up within that space. And we will be working with members of our community and key partners to evaluate the success of that program and explore opportunities to build on that foundation to provide more dining options with a marketplace field. Many of our community members that are serving on that committee are here. I see Dr. Delva King and others that are here that are serving there. And the city's also leading the effort to redefine DeSoto's image to our businesses and residents, as well as other communities in the Dallas-Fort Worth region through the city's rebranding project. We are at the point of welcoming public comment and involvement in selecting how we want to be viewed. It is time to chart our path forward. For almost a decade, DeSoto has been discussing and planning for Hampton Road redevelopment. We are ready to act with a clear vision of building a downtown, a walkable corridor that includes active outdoor spaces, and unique development that establishes a place where people want to live, work, and play. This process includes creating a sense of place, including a street environment that slows down traffic and is friendly to pedestrians and businesses. And DeSoto will be adding a landmark attraction to the city's already impressive collection of public parks and recreational facilities. Design of a new state-of-the-art aquatic and recreation center at McCowan Park will be in full swing in 2022. This new amenity will bring new residents and customers to our community and give another reason for our current residents to stay. And the last major goal that I want to mention is related to refining our vision for the future when it comes to development in our community. The city's comprehensive land use plan will be updated this year. That's right. Mayor Pro Tem is I guess he's the only one that has my back on that one. This process includes significant input from our residents and our stakeholders, and will determine how we want land in our community to be developed over time. And we're both agreeing to that because if you know anything about city planning, which I'm sure many of you do, understand how important this plan is to directing that. So updating this plan will communicate to the development community our standards for how we want land to be used, as well as communicate that DeSoto is open for business. DeSoto has come a long way in the past year despite some formidable obstacles, and we have done it by working together with our DeSoto family and with partners and friends in the broader region. We aren't perfect, and the beliefs in our community can vary, but DeSoto, for the most part, has bucked the trend towards polarization seen in many parts of our country and our world. This should be heartening to our residents and encouraging to those in other places where they just can't seem to envision a way forward. DeSoto's ability to maintain open communications and long-standing relationships has allowed us to chart a course for our future together. And this should give everyone who loves this wonderful city a reason to hope. May God continue to light our path forward. Thank you all, and DeSoto rises.